Hello, I hope you're able to see me. So just a moment, please. So I hope you're able to see me. Yeah, because I'm streaming. Exactly. Okay. I think all is well now. So just a moment. Let me just confirm something. Okay. Now, hello everyone. Nashon here. So today I'm going to talk about Power BI when it comes to analysis and specifically visualization, because Power BI is very powerful. It is a business intelligence tool and it is very important when it comes to visualization. So with me here, this is my second screen where I'll be sharing any information that I need to share with you. For example, Power BI. And over here, I have like a second screen. So don't worry about that. In case something comes to the second screen, I'll be dragging it back to the first screen, okay? Yeah. So Power BI. Power BI is a business intelligence tool, and it is very powerful when it comes to visualization and also data modeling as well, and also, calculating key performance indices in regards to the analysis that you are doing. So today I just want to show you like a sample of a project that I've worked on. I think that was last week, but one. I worked on it back in September, the third week. Yeah. So let me come back here and show you my screen. So I have my Power BI open, and basically this is the interface. Yeah. So in case you have already analyzed your data and you want to host it, in a cloud, you can, you have to sign in, but you'll have to sign in with a work email or an organization email on it all. I don't have that. So I'll just show you with the samples that I already have like locally stored on my laptop, okay? So let me just go to a blank report, or let me open a a dashboard that I have done before. So basically, previously this year I did an analysis for a client, but because of data, when it comes to data, we are not supposed to, to share, of course, other people's data. So I had to retweak the values, the names, all in all, etc., so as to ensure data confidentiality, especially in this world right now. So just know that the data that you're working with here have been tweaked, because it is very confidential. Like, it is good to keep a client's data confidential. So let me just open. So it is loading up. So basically, when it comes to Power BI, this is the menu where we have the home, insert. As you can see, there is modeling, there is view, there is optimize, and also there is help. So under home, you can come here and get data. So you can import data from an Excel workbook, from a semantic model, data flow, data verse, from an SQL server, okay? Also from a text or a CSV. Now, you see how also when it comes to Excel, sometimes you can import data from a CSV, and then you will have to maybe, specify the delimiter, blah, 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 and all that. So also here, when it comes to, text and CSV, it is also the same, but having that Power BI is very powerful. I'll just show you, don't worry about it. After importing this data, you will have to go to transform data in order to see if the data that you have imported has loaded in a correct way, and things like that. So it's taking quite some time to load. Let's just be patient with it. Be patient with it as it is loading. So just a moment. Wow, exactly. Just a moment. Let me instead open another one. Let me instead open these. Let me instead open this other one. Okay. So let's just give it some time as it is loading. Okay. So just a moment, please. Just a moment. Just give me a moment. I am opening another dashboard that I want us to, to work with because of data confidentiality. I did not want to open the client's dashboard. Wanted to open the other one that I had already tweaked the values and also the names of the suppliers. Yeah, especially right now in this time, when it comes to personal data, it is very crucial. Yeah, because right now, like you find when it comes to decision making and all that, like nowadays organizations hiring analysts in order to use data to come up with well-informed decisions and things like that. So data confidentiality is very important. Also, like let's say you're a business, you have to uphold the integrity of the data confidentiality of your clients as well and things like that. So it is really, really, really important. So just give me a moment. Okay. Just give me a moment. I'm trying to figure out where I had saved. It saved it. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about this. Yeah, so just give me a moment. I'm just trying to figure out where I had saved the supplier purchase analysis that I did. Yeah. So it's taking quite some time, but eventually I will figure it out. Let me just close some windows over here as I wait to figure it out. Okay. So as I'm still figuring it out, let me continue. So I was explaining how you can get the data. And mark you with an Excel workbook, you see sometimes in an Excel workbook, we can have a data just the way it is. Maybe it is raw data with no formats and things like that. Like, okay, even if it has been, formatted and all that. But also, when it comes to an Excel workbook, we can create a table within our workbook. Okay. So when we choose, for example, an Excel workbook and we want to import this data in Power BI, Power BI has the ability also to show the tables that are within that Excel workbook. Then from there, we can transform this data, see if there are any, missing values, repetitive data, all in all, before we get ahead to, to modeling this data and in the long run, creating visualizations with this particular data. Okay. Yeah. So here is where we can transform data and depending with the data that we had imported. So just a moment, please. I'm just trying to figure out as it is opening in the background. No problem about that. Yeah, so that is why we can also transform data. And then insert, I'm going to show you how we can, when we are creating an outline, like the mainframe of our dashboard, here we can come and insert different shapes and also different text boxes and also buttons. For example, if we have different pages, we can insert like navigator, like for example, page navigator, as you can see here. I hope you're able to see my cursor. Yeah. So we can insert like a page navigator, as you can see over here. Okay. And also we can insert like an image. For example, if this company, if we are creating a dashboard for a company and it has a logo, we can go click on the image, then select that specific logo, then insert it. Then when it comes to modeling, I'll also like show you, but I want to show you with one example. So please just give me a minute. I figure out where this data is specifically, okay? Then I will again share my screen. So let me just come here and look for this data. I remember I saved it somewhere. Just bear with me a moment, okay? I remember so well I had saved it somewhere. Just bear with me a moment. Just bear with me a moment. Just a moment. As I'm looking it up. Oh, I don't know if it is this. Let me do this. I have opened many Power BI projects, and I think it is really using up my memory. So let me just end the task of the ones that are open, okay? Then I open them afresh. So let me just end the task in my task manager like that. Okay. Then after that, let me come again and share my screen. I think it is here, nation practice. So let it load. Let's just wait for a minute. Let it load. Let's see if this is the data. I think this is the data that I had worked with. I'm sorry about that, guys. Yeah. So let's just give it a moment as it loads. Okay. Yeah. Let's just give it a moment as it loads. So here it is loading. It is still loading. So it is still loading. I was also checking on the streaming itself, okay? Okay, I have been able to load it. So let it load eventually. Here it is. I'm sorry about that, guys. Yeah, it is. Exactly. Now, let me just come over here because I want you people to see whatever we are working with here. So I will have to, let me just remove my what is it? Exactly. Let me remove my face over there so that you'll be able to see. Okay. So I did work on these a few weeks ago, and this is an example of a supply chain analytics. So as I told you, I did get data from an Excel workbook, and I had created tables in that Excel workbook already. Now, after getting the data, I did, import it now to Power BI by using this option of get data. After that, I transformed this data. And even when I'm in report view, it has different views. This is report view, as you can see. This is table view. Then this next one is model view. Then at long last, we have a DAX query view. Okay. So under report view, I can as well go back to transform data, and it will show us the data that I worked with. And let it just load for a second here, for a moment here. Okay, let it load. So here is the supplier data table, that I had. This preview may be up to 9 days old, just because I did not change anything. So, and as you can see, it has the supplier name, the date of payment of the suppliers, the amount, and also for some of them, there are even like, it was specified if it is either bank transaction or like an M-Pesa transaction. If I click on it, in as much as it is showing null, can you see down here? Here there are check numbers, so I can even, check if it is, an inward check, blah blah blah, and things like that. Like I can as well add a measure to specify, like, if it is a check, if it is an inward check, or any type of check as well. And also, of course, there was the amount, then there was the transaction code, then M-Pesa amount, then total basically was for some of them, it wasn't, the amount was not defined, you get, but for some, like, it was defined whether it was a bank or it was an M-Pesa transaction, okay? And as you can see, some of the suppliers here, Okwama, Limited Nation, and things like that, okay? Now, that is the supplier data table. That is the data that I had imported here. Here you can do a lot. You can even, like, okay, for this data specifically, as we are, transforming and all that, blah, 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 you can even add, let's say, a conditional formatting column, whereby you can put, I will show you with another project that I worked with, whereby I added a conditional formatting column. But in this data, to be specific, that wasn't really necessary. Okay, you see, when you come here to add column, you can add a conditional column. You see, so you have to select that column specifically. For example, amount, have you seen? And then you put the column name, and then you if, for example, the amount, then operator equals or is greater than, then you put the value, blah blah blah. You can add a clause here. You can say that, for example, if the value is more than 10,000, blah blah blah, and things like that. You can say that these are, a high valued supplier or something like that. You get it? But of course, it is applicable in some. You see, when it comes to analysis, it depends with the kind of data that you're using. For this one, that wasn't necessary. But also, all measures, basically, I simply like just added, like a column, though like not here specifically. I added it under here. Let us go to close because there's no need to apply. Under the table view, just a moment. So here, as you can see, we have this supplier table. I wanted to tell you about the measures. We have the supplier table. So basically, these are the columns within the table. Okay, as you can see. Let me just expand this like this, and let me go to table view and expand it. Amount not defined. We have like the supplier name. As you can see, supplier name, the date of payment, the amount not defined. These are what you see here. But you see here, it has been arranged in a descending order, like depending on, you see A comes first, then T comes last, like A, B, D, going down. But basically that is like the, under the supplier table. But for me to get some things over here, for example, the supplier purchase frequencies, you see, like for the suppliers, for example, if it is Hosea Farm, the supplier purchase frequencies for Hosea Farm between the period of April 2023 to January 2025. Let me just expand it, please. Okay, it won't hurt to expand this. It is 117. For this one, we had to add a measure. Okay, so for us to add a measure, I had to create like another column, all in all, whereby with this particular column is now where I was, now to add the measure. Okay, you see here, add a new column. I just added a new column. I chose this, so I just added a new column, and then for that column, I renamed it to be all measures. And then within that column where I added all measures, let me just click one of the measures. For example, total supplier purchase. Basically, total supplier purchase is the sum of all the values that are within the supplier data table under the column total. Because when we come back, to the, just a moment, when we come back to, let me just reduce these. Okay, because when we come back to now to the table view, okay, let me click on it. When you scroll here we have the total. So let's say it was in Excel, we would have gone to the bottom of this column, though this data has, like, I think it has here, it is written 1093 rows. Or we would have gone simply to any cell and put a function with the, let me just open a notepad. Just a moment. If it were in Excel, this notepad, let me drag it here to this screen because it opened in the other screen. Okay, then let me put it like this. Huh. Nice. So if it were in Excel, we would have just gone to any column and then written a function is equals to the sum. Okay, I'm not supposed to put plus. It's supposed to is equals to the sum of, then would have opened the bracket. Now here is where the range would have been, the range of the cells. So for example, if it was in Excel and then it was, for example, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, it would have been H, maybe H2, because the title would have taken one. It would have been H2 up to, you see, for this one, how many rows are here? I think it was 1093 rows. So it would have been H2 up to H1094, around there. That one is if it were in Excel. But now here, we had to create like a new measure where it shows the total supplier purchase, whereby total supplier purchase. Now, that is the name of the measure. Total supplier purchase is equals to sum of what? Sum of the supplier data table, of this supplier data table. But what column specifically? Total column. And for this measure, it brings out the total supplier purchase, whereby when we come back to our visualization, it shows us 26,737,482 is the total supplier purchase that has happened for the whole period of April 2023 to January 2025. And with these, for these ones, I had to, insert, I had inserted like the slicer, and I had inserted like the year slicer. Though there are different ways whereby you can do this, I'll show you another way. And after inserting the year slicer, though I did not really use that way, I'm going to show you this the other way. I can as well select that specific year, for example, 2023 alone. Okay, let me select all. Let me undo select. Okay, let me undo. Let me just select 2023 alone. And as you can see, if I select 2023 alone, it changes. Only for 2023, this total supplier purchase was 5 million. It was this value, to be specific. And also we can as well even come to the supplier name and change. For example, let us check Hosea Farm, or let us go to was Okwama Limited. My second name is Okwama, by the way. So for the year 2023, Okwama Limited had a supplier purchase of 947,854. So that is why when it comes to board in Power BI, man, it is, or a lady, or whosoever is listening, it is very interesting. Like once you model this data, okay, once you model this data, and once though for this one, there was no any like interrelation when it comes to the modeling itself, but there can be as well. I can show you how we can model this data. But once you model the data, once you know the metrics of what you're working with, it becomes very easy in order for you to to come up with the visualizations, and also to solve the key indices that you have to solve for this particular analysis, or for this particular data, all in all. Yeah, so when we come here to page 2, do you remember in Excel we have pivot tables that help so much when it comes to analysis itself? So I know you might be wondering, okay, here we are modeling data, or we are writing DAX, blah, blah, blah. We are writing measures. So, but for me, I'm so conversant with what is it, with the pivot tables in Excel. Now, how will I go about it? Don't worry about it. It is as easy as well. Let me just add a new page and show you, okay? So you see here, we have a matrix. If you click on that visualization, just like Excel, let me open up Excel. So let's just wait a minute as Excel is opening up, okay? Okay. I hope you're able to see me now because Excel is opening up. So let's just give it a moment as Excel is opening up. Here it is. It opened up, So, I don't, let me see if I have any data that I can use. Customize. Let me see if I have any data that I can use. I just want like, I don't know what, I'm looking for a data that that I can comfortably use, that will not jeopardize the integrity of my former client's data or anything. So for this data, a friend sent me from Kaggle, so I think this is like open source. Let me just click on this for it. Oh, we cannot find it. Oh no. But anyway, let me just show you. Let's say we have name here. Okay, so just allow me to type this first. Name and marks. Okay, so my first name is Nation. Then let me just use my names, but assuming that these people are different. Okay, Hosea, let me use also Odhiambo. Let me use Mark. And I can use Mark. Let me use Peter. Okay, yeah. And let's say they scored, Nation scored a 90. Okay. Scored a 67, 50, 80, let's say 87, say 51, for example. So you see, in Excel, okay, this is what I was doing basically. This is what I was doing. I wanted to show you how the main aim is, I wanted to show you how we can use, you see in Power BI, how matrix is somehow similar as pivot tables, like somehow, not fully, but somehow similar as pivot tables in Excel. So this is just like a sample data that I have just entered right now in order to help us, yeah. So basically we can as well insert, this is like the raw data table, okay, which has headers. Now in Excel, again, we can go and insert a pivot table, okay, from these. Now, with this pivot table, as you can see, it shows the fields over here. You see we have marks, and we have, I hope you're able to see. Over here we have name, and we have marks, and we have like the fields, the filter columns, rows, and values. Now, come back to Power BI. Once we select the matrix visualization, we also have, these are the fields per se. And here are now the rows, the columns, and the values as well, just like in Excel. You get. So we can as well use this matrix option over here in Excel, in Power BI, for those people who are very conversant with Excel, because in my field or in my line of being like an analyst, I've met people who are so good at Excel, and then when it comes to Power BI, the moment they see, oh, we want to model, oh, we have to write some DAX, oh, we have to, write some measures, they get scared. But it's not like, I'm not saying that it's the same thing all in all, but there are a lot of features. Having that Power BI is, of course, with Microsoft, Excel also with Microsoft. But there's a lot of features, there are a lot of things whereby you can carry from, somehow, as long as you have a deep understanding, you're advanced in Excel. When it comes to Power BI, you can also, get to learn it even better or well. So in this case, I was showing you how we can use this matrix, whereby, for example, if we want to know, we can take this field, supplier name, and add it to our columns. Okay, here. No, not columns, rows. Sorry, rows. Okay, and then we can come here and say like supplier purchase entries and add it to our values, basically. So it creates like some sort of a table that shows the number of times. For example, I know you are not, so just a moment. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I was saying that whereas I hadn't even shared the screen. So let me get back to the presentation. Let me remove these. So let me add matrix. Okay, so here it is. Here we have our matrix. We have added it as a visualization. So here, just like Excel is our, is our the fields and all that. In Excel, we can drag these in order to create here pivot table, then use then use like not design, then come here to pivot charts, then choose a visualization that is in Excel. Now I'm showing you how interrelatable it is when it comes to Power BI, especially with the matrix. So for example, let's say you want to create a table with, you see here we had created a measure that basically showed the number of the supplier purchase entries, like how many times did this supplier purchase and all that. So we can just come to to the supplier name over here. It goes like to the rows or the columns, but I find it easier when it goes to the rows. Okay, then after that we can come to the supplier purchase entries, the number of entries, whereby, as you can see, Nation Limited in this whole period has bought like 205 times. Okwama Limited has bought 125 times. Now we can even go ahead and filter these, we can even go ahead and filter these. And while filtering, we can use top N to show us, like, for example, the top 5 common suppliers, like, or repetitive suppliers. Okay, top 5, top N. Okay, like that. By we want to, okay, so the supplier name, top N, basically that is either the top or the bottom, and we want to filter it by the supplier name, so we'll have to drag it like that, then apply filter. So So just a moment, I'm trying to to check up something here. Oh, not by the supplier name. You see, I'm sorry about that. The supplier name, that's the name. We're supposed to filter the top 5 in order with the supplier purchase entries. That is the measure that we had put there. Okay. So just a moment. Then we apply this filter. Exactly. It shows us the top 5. Now, after making these, which is somehow similar like I don't know if you're able to see my screen. I'm so sorry about that. I will find a way in order to to expand it so that you be able. Oh, okay. I thought of expanding it via the OBS, but I didn't remember that I can also expand it from this other side. Okay, yeah. So we can even go ahead and now create a visualization from these. And because it is a comparison, we will have just to take a simple stacked bar graph, to not really stacked. No, stacked, but clustered. Stacked is when we are comparing, like, okay, yeah, okay. For clustered is when we are comparing. Let me just show you. You see, like, all of them are supplier names, so we want to compare each of them. We can either take these or the upright one, and then it shows just like that. We can even go ahead and under visualization. Now, the good thing is that we can even play with these under visualization and come here. And we have different options: X, Y, with the grid lines. You can come here to general, the title that you want to have. It is on, you see, supplier purchase entries by supplier name. No, we will have to change this. We'll have to change it to, for example, top 5. So just a moment. We can change it to top 5 frequent suppliers. Okay. And then we can put it to be centered. We can even change like the fonts that you're working with. Like, for example, you see here when we come to page 1, like the dashboard that I was working with, can you see the consistency? Because it is very important also to have consistent fonts. And also another thing is that when you come to home, for example, top supplier purchase. Top supplier purchase is different with the visualization that we have just visualized. This one is, like, for example, a supplier can come and purchase once and purchase a lot of value, you get. But another one can come frequently, but purchase a lesser value than the other one who came, maybe once. Or, like, in short, each metric, depending on whatever you are analyzing, is always very important to understand, like, whatever you're dealing with, the KPIs. Because you see, in analysis is not all about creating awesome visualization, creating awesome things and things like that. You're not designing something. Yes, it is good for your work to be really organized, all in all, but when it comes to visualization and analysis, all in all, we're trying to use the patterns that we get from our analysis in order to help us in making well-informed decisions that will take this organization into, that will propel it forward, that will make it to be more competitive, such that the competitors cannot, replicate and things like that. Yeah. So I was showing you of now the top frequent suppliers. Let me just return these. Now, for example, having that this one is a supply chain analysis, we can ask ourselves, why should we know top 5 frequent suppliers or top frequent suppliers? And at the same time, why should we know the top supplier patches? You see, we can use this to answer the question of, like, for example, if a supplier purchases frequently but doesn't purchase like big value, then there must be a problem somewhere. Now we can use such analysis in order to create some sort of perks or like benefits or discounts that will keep the supplier from coming back, that will keep them like not from but will keep them coming back to us, you get? Yeah, so that is why like each key performance index that you are analyzing is not all about just analysis or creating like good visualization, but we have to answer a question that is needful, not just analyzing it all in all. So I wanted to show you how, for example, here we have this. Okay, we can come to Format Painter and take this format the way it is here. But I think the problem is because for this particular workbook, the background for this particular one, let me just go to Canvas, not Canvas settings, but Canvas background. Let me just put it black. Really? Let me put it dark gray or a darker shade of gray. Oh, sorry. I had mistakenly pressed this. I don't know why for this third page. So just a moment. I don't know why for this third page, Canvas background, I don't know why Canvas is not really, is not really changing. So just a moment, just bear with me a moment, okay? You see here, when we come here to, the canvas, you see it is showing this color, gray. So I wanted to change for this page 3, the color should be gray. And I really don't know why it is not, the canvas is not changing, because it should be changing. I don't know if it is my laptop that is taking quite some time to change it. So just a moment, okay? Just bear with me a moment. Or let me do this. Let me just duplicate this. Because I can as well duplicate it. Then after duplicating, because we already have that the other side, so let me just select them, okay? Select, no, let me not do that. Let me control all and select all of them. Let me right click and let me do what? Let me select all and let me just delete them, okay? Because I wanted the gray color. So like I've just used another method on it. So copy, then let me just come here and paste. Here it is. The reason why this wasn't showing like the supplier purchase entries, blah blah blah. Now what had happened is I wanted to show you. Simply we had copied this. You see whatever we had here, we went to Format Painter, and then we came here and then we formatted whatever we have there, like the painter, like the format of whatever we have here, we copied and then we just pasted here. So I wanted to change the background to be, you know, a different color so that I show you how, like how we can, after making a visualization, how we can now use this format painter from one visualization to the next in order to, you know, to bring consistency when it comes to the font that you used and etc. etc. Yeah, so in a nutshell, this is the analysis that I did in accordance to the supplier purchase analysis. Oh, and then I was to show you how I added this. So let us just go back to page 3. Then let us go to visualization. You see here, we have a slicer. You see, we have a slicer over here. And then for this slicer, which data do we want to use for this slicer? For example, we want to use the date. And we want to make it to be quarterly. Okay, so we can just add it like this: Q1, Q2. Now January, February, March, Q1, April, May, June, Q2, like that, up to Q4. And then we want to make it to be a drop down. Now we will come here to, you know, to format your visualization. Then under slider settings, we will change this to be a drop down. And then we can copy these, we can, you know, reshape these and then copy it to, let's say here, to, so let me just sync to here. Okay, then let me show you how interesting this is. Okay, now we can go back to page 1, and then for this slicer, the format that was used, I go to format painter, see, then I come back here like that. Just a moment, let me do it again. Just bear with me a moment. I hope you're able to hear me. So I can come here, then click on format painter, then come back here and put it. You see, it has changed. It has changed just like the other one. Now I can select, for example, for Q1. For Q1, the top 5 frequent suppliers nation came and purchased, because this is a supplier purchase analysis, and purchased for January, February, and March. Nation purchased 55 times. Okay, yet when we come back here, you see Nation Limited, even his purchase, he's like the third, yet he's like the most frequent, but the purchase amount, he's like the third, he's not the first, you see. So the contradiction between the purchase, you see, between the purchase and the frequency, that discovery from our analysis can help us to, you know, to either come up or like create strategies that will either help such frequent suppliers to you know, to have more purchases, or that will help us retain the suppliers who have who don't have a lot of purchases, but instead who don't purchase frequently, but instead like have like a big, let me say, like for example, like big value of purchases, so that we end up like profiting more. I just hope that you're able to understand what I'm trying to say in accordance to this data. Yeah. So basically, it's been a pleasure being with you today. I will try my best to, you know, I will create another tutorial on how I was able to, to create the whole of this visualization from scratch. Or if it is not these, I can also like use other examples to make you understand better Power BI and also Excel as well. I also have some examples. I have my own data when it comes to Excel. I have my own purchase data. Like for 2 years, I used to record every penny that I was using, and I can use that as an example. So I'll just, go and clean that data, or I can clean it with you. So I was recording it in Google Sheets. So I'll also show you how we will, export it to an Excel file, and, or we can as well clean it in the Google Sheets, export it as an Excel file, then do some analysis with Excel, then also bring it here to Power BI and create very nice and stunning visualizations and dashboards that not only are captivating to the eyes, but help us to solve real world problems. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you so much. And yeah, till we meet next time, till we meet, and bye.